Hi, my name is Aralia Ramirez, and I'm the coordinator for the First Year Experience program. In my role, I supervise the student event planning team for the Chico State Town Hall meeting. So thank you so much for taking time to record this interview with us. We're excited to spend a few minutes talking and learning about your experience with starting a grassroots petition drive. So to just get us started, would you be able to tell us your name, your occupation, and a little bit about your experience with political activism?
Okay. I'm Victoria Padilla. I am the finance director for congressional candidate Audrey Denney. Um, my entire focus right now is money. That's all that I think about from the moment I wake up to the moment I see Audrey. And I was also a teacher's assistant for Dr. Dwyer and Dr. Thomas. And so I love the town hall and I love the action symposium. It makes me really happy actually that this is happening. So it's great. What else? My own experience being politically active, that was the question?
Yeah.
I've always just who was it? I think it was my one of my professors, Dr. Flannery, who was just like, she came into the room and she said, who's pissed off today? Right? And nobody raised their hands. And then she was like, no one. And then she just started listing off all of the things that were happening that we should all be pissed off about, right? And it was one of those moments where it was just like it really got me riled up. And so the next time she came in and she was like, who's pissed off today? I was the first one to raise my hand and then to say all the reasons why. And not to say that that was the moment that I realized I was interested in politics and that there was a lot to be done. But it definitely started something within me forward. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. It's awesome that, that professor even created space for you to just, feel what you're feeling about what's happening in the world and then dive deeper into how to be able to, address it or change it. So that's
great.
really cool. So what can you tell us about starting a grassroots petition and how committed are you to the overall efficacy of this action?
I can't say that I've actually started one of my own. In my line of work right now, I'm approached by a lot of people to sign on to different petitions. The thing, well, I mean, anybody can really start one, and it just depends on how many signatures you get. So if you get 150 signatures within 30 days, that petition can then be searchable on whitehouse.gov, right?
Oh, okay.
And then to have them respond to you, you need 100,000 signatures and within 30 days, right? So you can do it, anybody can do it. That's the great part about it. There's a signature requirement, a number that you need to hit in order for it to be viable. And then something that I find that is really important is making your message just clear, concise, and catchy, right? And depending on where you're doing if you're in front of a supermarket trying to get people to sign, I think we've all been approached and all of us are busy and don't necessarily want to stop. And so you have to make your best pitch, and that could be 10 seconds, 15 seconds as they're walking away from you. But it has to grab their attention and hold it for that time in order to get the signature, right? And some people they don't want to give you their phone number. They don't want to give you their email, right? So that is tricky. And then knowing your audience, right? Knowing who you need to sign in order to move this forward or to move your action forward is important. If you want to save the dolphins, I would maybe start in front of Trader Joe's, right? Like know your target audience and make your messaging easy for them to understand, right? If you're probably super passionate about whatever you want them to sign, right? But you're catching somebody who is not even thinking about it in the moment. So you have to grab them and you have to just be like, this is really important, 10 seconds, sign, and then move on, right? They don't have time for you to give them a whole spiel of 3 minutes. You're not going to get any signatures.
Right. You have to kind of figure out like what the hook is, and then, like you said, knowing who your audience is and where you may be able
Yeah.
to get signatures. Super important. I mean, you shared I was going to ask you about tips, and you shared, you already shared tips for the petition, which is awesome. But maybe a little bit more along those lines, can you share any success stories that you've had with using this action, or maybe that you've heard of?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Well, today I feel like there's not a whole lot of, at least I haven't come across um, a lot of, I guess, being approached to sign a petition in front of stores right now, especially during COVID times, right? So that whole in-person interaction isn't really happening. And so we're doing it, it's all online essentially, and your message has to be even more grabbing because for me, I get a couple hundred emails a day, right? And so if I'm scrolling through, I'm really just looking for work stuff. And if it's the same, and I mean, you get the same like, this is bad that is happening in the world, click on it, right?
Right.
But the issue is that there are so many issues that are happening that require our attention, and we don't have the attention for all of them. And so I always, we have some interns, and I was explaining this the other day, that I think of the world as having just like a lot of little fires, right? There's just tons of issues that are happening. And then we put a lens, we focus the lens on the fire, right? But then something uh, more eye grabbing is over here. So you refocus that lens over here, but that initial fire is still there, right? None of them, there's still so many problems.
Right.
And so I think for my interns, when we were interested, and they were asking me questions about starting a petition, right? I was like, well, it's really great to be active or politically active and to have causes that you're passionate about. And for me, if you're gonna do it, kudos to you, right? And to keep just pushing, because we need people who are problem solvers and who can motivate others. And I can't say that I can identify one successful one that I've been a part of or that I have seen take place, but just having people who are motivated to make a difference and knowing that their voice is important and that the status quo is not enough, right? Is really important. And if that means you're going to start a petition, do it.
Yeah. So you touched a little bit about the obstacles that someone may face when starting a petition, especially with COVID. And so kind of like along those lines, are there any other actions that could complement this line to make it more effective?
I'm sure that there is. I'm kind of drawing a blank. There is, I guess one thing that could help if you're doing like an online petition, if you start with your friends and family, right? And then you ask them to send it to 3 of their friends. And then you start this chain that just keeps growing and growing, because the easiest way that I can think of to start is to get those who are closest to you, who care about you, because at that point, I mean, maybe they're interested in your cause, right? But at that point, they want to support you, and you have to pull at those heartstrings and then ask them to keep, and then they ask 3 friends, those 3 friends ask 3 friends, right? And in a time where you can't really be in person and really sell yourself in that, and having that exchange, that is one thing that really works. And in my line of work, we always start with those who are closest to you, right? And then you start the movement and get them as motivated and interested in what's going on, and it will grow from there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is great information. I know that our students are going to be really excited to hear about your advice with grassroots petitions. I do want to just ask one more question, and that is there anything else that you would like to share with us? And by us, I mean, students in the classrooms that are going to watch these videos too.
Well, November 3rd, we are 11 days away, right? I'm looking in Audrey's office downtown, and we have a paper chain that we have been pulling apart every single day. So it used to wrap around, and now it is 11, right? And I can't tell you guys how important it is to go and vote. It is so important. I am so tired of people saying it doesn't matter if I don't, it's just, I'm one vote.
Right.
It's very important. You can't go about your life just thinking that this doesn't matter, right? Everything matters.
Right.
And this is a huge election, and I'm really excited and really nervous for it. Running on very little sleep. So sorry to all of you who are watching this, but get out there and vote, and just, it's just a critical time in our history, and it's going to be, I hope after November 3rd, there will be some changes, positive changes, but you can be a part of that. So go and do it, everyone.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and your knowledge that you shared with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.